What's up, Soul Tribe? It's your girl Dominique with Empathic Guidance, and I'm back with another video for you all today. Before I get off into the video, I just want to say, for one, I miss you guys dearly. We haven't had a conversational video in about a week. The last video that I posted to Empathic Guidance was actually a cooking video. I really enjoyed making that cooking video for you guys, and I definitely have another one coming up for you all. I wanted to do one today, but I was missing a few key ingredients, and I'm like, no, I can't short them on the full experience. So I'm going to keep that a surprise. I was going to reveal to you guys what I'm going to cook tomorrow with you guys. But I just want to surprise you all and teach you how to cook something. It's going to be a foreign dish. So I'll give you a hint. It's Caribbean. But until then, you guys will have to be left in suspense. Do me a favor for you new subscribers. Thank you for joining me. First of all, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button as well as the notification bell for future updates. And again, y'all know I have to give my goddess their praise every single time I make a video, or just about every time I make a video. So y'all already know my favorites and stuff. So I'm gonna give a shout out to two more followers that are very regular on my videos, and I want to just give you ladies a big thanks. Mwah. I absolutely love keeping up with you all's videos as well, and that's Annette the Encourager. So she ministers, and she definitely gives great advice. So if you guys could also subscribe to her channel, I would greatly appreciate that, because she definitely has wisdom and a very kind spirit, and you probably will find a lot of things that she has to say insightful, as well as a fine mess. And how you spell a fine mess is F-Y-N, and that's it. So F-Y-N mess. And her vlogs are very interesting, informative. She's a very beautiful girl. So just two shout outs to those two ladies, because those were the screen names that I was trying to think of on the last video to give a shout out to. Unfortunately, I didn't write their names down. I should have been more organized. But I'm giving a big fat thanks to you ladies for being constant supporters, commenting, watching, liking, and actually following through. So join them as well on their journey, and you won't be disappointed. Okay, now for the video, you guys. So today, what we're going to be speaking on is one of the number one things besides yourself, which has to do with yourself, that causes delays and actually manifests negativity into our life. And it's just a 4-letter word. You will never guess that it'll have that much impact. And no, it's not hate. It's not love. It's not fate. It's not your mate. It's fear. Fear is one of the most low vibrational, egotistical energies that you could be holding on to or living in. Fear is a very paralyzing energy to be in. Just to give you an example, and I'm not going to take the credit for this because I listen to great speakers all the time. So what I will tell you is that I was listening to a lecture, and this was the perfect analogy for fear that I could ever imagine. And it's the deer caught in headlights. Now, typically when a deer gets hit by a car, it's because they spend too much time paralyzed in fear, when they could have spent that time actually like jolting across the street faster than the car could hit them. They sit there and they think about it, and they manifest the worst for them. They're like, oh, I hope I don't get hit by a car. Bam. So the speaker also said, every time you think with fear-based energy, you cause a death. And whether that be the death of your relationship, the death of your self-esteem, just the death of believing in yourself. People that typically live in fear, and when I'm talking about fear, I mean a wide range, but I'll get into the list of things that we fear on an everyday basis that we don't realize is causing so many delays in our life. But Usually, like I said, when people are living in fear, they're honestly in their own way. You're not living in the now. You're either living in the past or you're living in the present, but you're not living in the now. And what I mean by that is, if you're afraid of something, it's because you're afraid that history will repeat itself, or you're afraid of the outcome, which is thinking too deep into the future. And people don't realize that when they sit there and they dwell and they get too attached to an outcome, like, oh, what's going to happen? Oh man, I don't know. Like, I'm afraid to love because I'm going to get hurt. They're focused on the past. When they're like, oh, I hope this person doesn't leave me, they're too focused on the future. They're not living in the now and actually either enjoying that relationship or whatever else it is that they may be afraid of. And like I said, it's many things that we can fear on an everyday basis that we don't realize that we're fearing, that we're living in fear, that we're keeping ourselves stagnant, that we're keeping ourselves stuck. Because again, it's a very paralyzing energy to live and dwell in. So a few things that I did write down. So if y'all see me looking to the side, it's just because I want to stay on course and I don't want to forget things. Oftentimes when I get off into these rants, I end up forgetting some key important points, and I end up extremely disappointed because it may be something that I really wanted to share with you all. So that's why if you see me looking to the side, it's strictly because I want to refer to my notes to make sure that I'm not missing anything. But as I stated before, 9 times out of 10, when you fear the worst and you keep on dwelling in those ruminating ideas, because most of the time when we fear something, we making it up in our mind and we think about it so much, we get so stuck in our heads that we manifest that. Just like the law of attraction, when you think about the good things you want so much and it comes to fruition, you can also make negativity come to fruition just as well. So, another thing I want to say, and this has to do with living in the past and in the present, is stop making excuses for your fear. Stop being too attached to things that no longer serve you because you're afraid of change, failure, being alone, getting your heart broken, being broke, whether that be you're at a job and you know you've outgrown that company, but you stay out of fear because you don't know what the future holds. But if you live in fear, or if you feeling like you outgrown something, you're stagnating yourself. You're holding yourself back. You're getting in your own way. When you get that feeling of, okay, I've outgrown this, but I'm too afraid to leave it. When you get that feeling, that's you holding yourself back, because 9 times out of 10, when we feel like we've become too big for something, then that's a sign from the universe that there is something better for us out there. All you have to do is maintain a positive mindset, and that way you can manifest the best possible situation for yourself instead of thinking about what will go wrong. Because whatever you think, constantly ruminating in your mind will go wrong, you will manifest that for yourself. So, a couple of things that people are normally scared of, like I said, is being alone, being in love. You know, it's a lot of people out here that have really loving hearts, and we view them as being people that don't know how to handle relationships, but it's because they're living in fear. They rather be the person to hurt the new person, as opposed to them having to experience the same heartache that they may have experienced in previous situations. Leaving a job behind. Again, as I stated before, it gets to a point where we outgrow things around us. You must keep evolving. You cannot keep yourself stuck at a place where you feel like, okay, I should be evolving, but I feel like I've been in the same spot for the past 3 or 4 years. And the reason why you keep yourself there is because you're afraid you won't find anything better. Leaving friends behind. If anyone can tell you, it was at a point where I was afraid to leave toxic friends behind. I would know that these friends were no longer resonated with me because I was thinking from my higher self, while they were thinking from a more lower vibrational self. They were, I was getting stuck in toxicity, But again, that's my fault. When you are thinking and vibrating on a higher level, you need to surround yourself with those same types of people. Not just make excuses as to why you don't want new friends. Oh, well, I've been friends with such and such for 25 years and this and that. But when you think back on those 25 years, how many times have you been backstabbed? How many times have you felt used? How many times have you felt like the support was one-sided? How many times did you feel like you told that person good news and they didn't even crack a smile, but if something negative happened, you will see them low-key smirk? You've outgrown them friends. That means release them and make room for people that's there for your highest good. That's going to push you forward. That's going to allow growth. Not the friends that's, oh, let's just get drunk. Let's get high. Let's go for a ride that way. That way you end up with a DUI or an accident or whatever. Like, once you grow, shed that skin and move forward. Being afraid of growth. Now, that's one of the biggest things where you get in your own way. You can't blame a soul but yourself if you're afraid of your own growth. Again, sometimes I'm going to reference to people that I look up to or that I listen to because I feel like their insight is great and I want to pass the message on because I feel like as many people should hear it as possible. But whenever I reference to something that I heard from somebody, I will always make that known because I will never make words out my mouth that I haven't come up with myself unless I, like I said, give that person credit for their work. So a tarot card reader that I was listening to earlier, she made a perfect example as people that's afraid of success. And at one point that may have even been me. I kept myself in like a low vibrational stagnant energy because it was easy to just lay around and be lazy and not chip off on my goals or check off on my goals because you know that just to stay in a place where you're just surviving and not really living, nobody will have that expectation of you. It's just, okay, she just goes through life. She has a job here, a job there, but she's not pushing herself to do better, even though she has the potential. And a lot of people do that because you know that once you become successful, and especially if you become successful in the public eye, it's no going back after that. And people are afraid of having the expectations of other people looking up to them and then them falling from grace. And again, that's nothing but the ego. So forget about death to anything else but the ego. Stop living in fear and causing death within yourself. Death of your growth. Death of love that you can be receiving. Death of success that you can be receiving. Death of true friends, kindred spirits that you can be coming into union with because you're too busy hanging out with friends that just won't fit with the higher vibrational crowd that you're trying to attract into your life. Death to the ego. Let's all put a death to our ego because all of these things that I named that people are normally afraid of are ego-based. People are afraid to leave their relationships even though they know it no longer serves them because they don't want to look like they failed. People don't want to lose their jobs or they don't want to give up their jobs because they're afraid that the next thing won't be the best thing for them. People are afraid that if they become too successful and they fall from grace, that people are going to laugh at them. People are too afraid that if they move to a different state because they no longer resonate in the state that they live in, that they'll go there and they won't succeed. It's all about what others think about them. If you operate in a sense where only your opinion matters, you would be more prone to taking risks. And those risks can lead to so much more success than you staying stuck, stagnant, complacent because of a small 4-letter word. Release fear. Release fear. That's my final piece of advice to you all. It's death to the ego. Release fear. Vibrate higher.